with me. Listen, not enough great things can be said about your approach to the game, one, winning this award, but now that you're seeing like the fruits of your labor, all the time that you've put into setting the goals, living up to the expectation, how does it feel to finally get that first big-time NBA individual award?
It feels great. You know, my mom's sitting here next to me. She just said something very true.
Oh, Mom.
Hey,
Mom.
Hey, Mom. The real struggle might have been getting to 65 games. But I'm super, super happy to win this award and actually super proud to be the first ever unanimous.
Vic, talk to us about being a great shot blocker. We know when we all scores up here on this panel, so when we hit like 3 or 4 buckets in a row, like we're just gonna get that momentum and keep running off on scoring. We feel like we're not gonna miss any shots. What is that for you on the defensive end? Is it getting a block shot? Is it getting a steal, a defensive stop? What is that for you that shift that momentum where you feel like you're just unstoppable on the defensive end?
You know, my job is taking care of people like you guys, making sure you don't get the fun you're looking for. But no, it's, you know, I've had the chance to have, you know, great coaches all over my career that have taught me great habits on defense. And my shot blocking, especially since we're talking about it, is something I've been working on forever. So it's probably the area in my game where I feel most comfortable at.
You talked about, I was just talking about you basically letting the world, putting the world on notice about you winning this award coming this year. Where has that mentality and confidence come from?
You know, high ambition, and honestly, I think we often overlook, you know, the team aspect, because, you know, I'm sitting here, I happen to be the guy that's put in the spotlight, but I am part of the system, and I couldn't get this award, and I couldn't do what I do if it wasn't for my teammates who actually, you know, do the rotations and allow me to be in the spotlight. If it wasn't for my coaching staff, you know, Sean Sweeney, the defensive coach of our team, sitting here with us right now, Mitch Johnson as well. You know, I fit in a system, and I happen to be the guy who benefits from it, but we cannot forget about these guys either.
Well, let me tell you something before we move on. They made that system for a reason, my friend. They know sending it to you is a good idea.
Wemby, we all know how much of a student of the game you are, like the history of the game, who came before you, whose shoulders that you stand on right now. This award is named after Hakeem. You stated that, you know, he's one of your favorite players of all time, and somebody who you admire, who you respect.
Hoops and breaking news from the NBA. Spurs big man Victor Wembanyama has been named Defensive Player of the Year after leading the league in blocks for the 3rd straight season. Wemby becomes the first unanimous Defensive Player of the Year in the history of the award, which dates back to 1983. And keeping it in the Western Conference, the Nuggets will try to go up 2-0 in their series against Minnesota tonight. It was the Murray and Jokic show. In Game 1 for Denver, the duo scored or assisted on 77% of the Nuggets' points, both going for 25-5-5 for the 8th time in their postseason careers. Now, on the other side, for Minnesota, it Star didn't have his A game, especially from deep, as Anthony Edwards continues to battle through a knee injury. He is listed as questionable for Game 2 tonight. On the scene in Denver is our NBA senior writer, Anthony Slater. So what more can you tell us about Ant's status ahead of tonight's game?
Yeah, you said officially questionable, but all signs point to him playing. He was questionable for Game 1, went through a warm-up, played. I saw him out here about 5 hours ago on the court for shoot-around. Went through a shooting routine, was sitting there talking to Chris Finch, had you know, his shoes on and everything. So, again, the expectation is he will play, but the question is how good will he be? In Game 1, 22 points, low efficiency, 7-19 overall, 2-9 from 3. He had some burst moments, but you could tell he's still grimacing a little bit with this knee injury that held him out of 11 of the final 14 games. Is basically being termed like Steph Curry's issue with runner's knee, and you know, nothing structural, but clearly some swelling and some pain he's trying to fight through, and they need a great version of him tonight.
You said that the T-Wolves have lost 4 straight road playoff games, so they definitely need him on his A game. We'll see if they can break that streak tonight. Anthony Slater, live from Denver. Kevin?
Let's bring back Shump. You know, Amon, Ant is questionable. We just talked about that. So who needs to step up in order for the Timberwolves to even this series?
Well, I mean, besides Ant-Man needing to play, I think you look to Jaden McDaniels. he is one of those guys that goes out there and kind of is a master of the broken play. He gets deflections. He gets out on the breakaway. He gets sneaky drives. He's able to get to 1-2 dribble pull-ups. He's able to shoot from the outside. I think that we could look for him to be a little bit more aggressive, not just because of Ant-Man's help, but just because of how stagnant the offense gets sometimes. I think he kind of knows if they can get in here and steal one, it'll be better off for them in the heap of things trying to get over that hump with Denver. So look for him to be more aggressive. I look for DiVincenzo to be a little bit more aggressive, as there might be a few more available shots as they try to corral those other two.
And keep in mind, McDaniels had 16 points and 8 rebounds in game 1. Christine?
Yeah, the NBA playoffs kept rolling yesterday with the Thunder starting their title defense with a rout of the Suns. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander had 25 and sat out the fourth quarter of the 119-84 win. Victor Wembanyama's playoff debut was a hit. 35 points in the Spurs' 111-98 win over the Blazers. Not even Tim Duncan had that many in his playoff debut. Wemby showed why he's such a unicorn, hitting 5 of 6 three-pointers. After tearing his Achilles in last year's playoffs, Jason Tatum returned in style. He had 25 points, 11 rebounds, and 7 assists in a 123-91 blowout of the Sixers. Tatum had 21 in the first half in just his 17th game of the season. And Cade Cunningham had a playoff career-high 39 points, but it did not do enough to help as the Magic upset the Pistons 112-101. Detroit has lost 11 straight at home in the postseason, dating back to 2008. So, Iman, what are you seeing from the Magic and this team and what they were able to do in Detroit and upset the 1 seed in Game 1?
I think that they've just found a way to be inspired. I don't know if my rant the other day on ESPN got them all riled up, but what they did is they came out with some passion. They came out with some purpose, and they've taken some pride. They've taken some steps on defense. They are now helping the helper. Guys are meeting each other at the rim. It's been a lot better from a team standpoint. The biggest thing that you've also seen is, though they play through Banchero, who's allowed to carry the offense and shows that he can carry the offense, they have spurts where Bane is allowed to carry him. And now, at least it was last game, they figured out that if they give it to Wagner down the stretch, he really can take them home. They look like a totally different ball team when he had the ball, making decisions and making sure that they had go-away buckets every time it looked like the lead would slip away. He made a move. So I would like to see if Game 2 we see some more of that, where they play through Banchero, but toward the end of the game, do they go through Wagner to make sure they get home?
Yeah, all 5 Magic starters scored 15 points, third time in the franchise's playoff history. Shump.
Brought the brooms and handled the Cavs 3 times in the regular season, but it was Cleveland who punched first in Game 1 of the playoffs and in a dominating fashion, opening up once a 22-point lead in the second half, and Donovan Mitchell finishing his night leading all scorers with 32 points for his 9th consecutive 30-plus point Game 1. They'll look to keep things rolling as Game 2 getting set for tip. And for more, we bring in the John and John duo. We've got John Henson and John Gonzalez. How lucky am I? But guys, we're also lucky because we got a good game on tonight, because Game 1 went about as well as Cleveland could have hoped for after getting swept by Toronto in the regular season. Cavs just flipping the script in their double-digit win. So, JG, John Gonzalez, do the Cavs need to rely on another big night from Donovan Mitchell? What's their approach if they want to go up 2-0 in the series?
Yeah, I mean, it wouldn't hurt, right? I mean, he always plays well in Game 1s. I mean, it's a long streak here where he just goes for 30 or more, but they have to be feeling pretty good about themselves right now, Kiana. They get their first win against the Raptors this season. Donovan Mitchell looked awesome. He's always huge again in Game 1s. And then James Harden, goes for 22 and 10 assists. He's throwing the ball, lobs all over the gym to the big guys. Evan Mobley looked good. I thought that the other encouraging thing here was that Jared Allen played 27 minutes. He was sort of in and out of the lineup with that knee injury. You needed him to be healthy if the Cavs want to make a deep run here. And then they get 24 points in 24 minutes from Max Strus. I'm not sure you can count on that again, but for the first 4 guys, the main 4 guys, to have a good game, they have to feel pretty good about that. And then Kenny Atkinson, I think maybe that gives him a little comfort level, right? Because he's been waiting for all of these guys to be healthy at the same time. The Cavs used 41 different lineups this season. 6 teams in the NBA, Cavs are one of them, have used that many lineups during the regular season. Guess what? The other 5, not in the postseason. So Kenny finally gets his whole team, lands on this lineup, probably thinking to himself, finally.
Yeah, I think if you're the Cavs, you have to continue to impose your will, but also not forgetting to guard the perimeter. Allen and Mobley's size gave Podol kind of problems. Poto couldn't really move agile, with them. He was not as agile as him. And then Murray Boyles was just too small. So they signaled that maybe there'd be a lineup change in the Raptors. I think they're going to start Murray Boyles and have Poto come off the bench. The Raptors shot 53% from the field and 48 from three and still lost by 13 because they just could not guard the Cavs, who shot 54 from the field, 50 from three. In the game of hoops, though, if you're the Cavs, if the team shoots like that, you won't win a lot of games. So I think from that standpoint, the Cavs need to understand they have the size down low, and they have the advantage, and they need to fan out from there. And also, listen, don't forget to play defense, because this is a Raptors team that they shot the ball really well, and one of the best fast break teams in the NBA, and they held them to 3 points. They averaged 20. So the Cavs game plan worked for game one. There will be adjustments. Impose your will, guard the perimeter. I think you come out of there with a win.
Okay, well, let's talk about the adjustments on the other side, because if the Raptors want to win their first playoff series since 2020, I mean, they're going to need to steal one on the road at some point in this series, and it sure can help if they can just steal one tonight. So, Henson, I'm coming right back to you. What's the biggest adjustment, then, that Toronto has to make if they're trying to even things up here in Game 2?
It's pretty simple. Get stops and run. You lose by 13 shooting 50-50 splits from the field because your fast break game was shut down. That's the story of the game. But it's all relative, because if you don't get stops, you can't run. So the Raptors need stops, and they need to run to speed this Cleveland team up and get them out of their game. Cleveland only holding them, which was for sure a game plan thing, to 3 points on a fast break. I think that is why the Raptors lost the game. And yes, they lost by 13, but this wasn't that close, right? The 13, the starters, I don't think anyone played over 35 minutes, so they'll be fresh. But yeah, for Raptors, you got to get stops on that offensive end, and you've got to get out and run, play your game. If you get dragged down into the mud with the Cavs, this will be a quick series.
Yeah, I think the easy one is to say Brandon Ingram needs to be better and take more than 9 shots, right? That's not going to get it done. But we have a John and John mind meld here, because my thing here was exactly what John Henson said. They've got to get stops and run, right? The fifth in defensive rating, we're in agreement here. We haven't done a show together in a while, but immediately we're off and running again, just like the Raptors should be, because they led the league in fast break points this season. They only had 3, as John mentioned, in game 1, and they need to force turnovers, right? They need to turn that into offense. They forced 17 turnovers in game 1. That's a good start, right? But only 3 of those were live ball turnovers. So when they don't have live ball turnovers, you can't convert that into offense. So it all starts with defense. Scotty Barnes going to make all defense, finish 5th in the Defensive Player of the Year voting today. They're going to need him and everybody else to be better on that end. And then, yes, get out and run.
You guys all on the same accord. It's like the John and John telepathy, because you also both came with the white shirts on, didn't give me the memo. No big deal. But let's move on to a pick for this game, because we did just break down both sides. So, Henson, I'm coming right back to you. Do you think the Blazers can even things up on the road, or does Cleveland take care of home? Give me your pick for tonight.
I think the Cavs take care of business. Harden and Mitchell, they're battle-tested. They've been through this before. The most expensive roster in the NBA. And the Raptors shot the ball fairly well. Yeah, they didn't run, but they shot the ball fairly well and still lost by 13, and it wasn't that close. And no starter played over 35 minutes. The old heads are feeling good on the perimeter, James Harden and Donovan Mitchell. I'm going to Cavs to take game 2.
Yeah, I'm going with John again on this one, right? The Raptors, look, it's been a while since they've been in the postseason. Their last series win was in 2020. And what concerns me about them is they weren't very good against good teams this season. If you take the top 6 teams in the Western Conference and the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference, including that game 1 loss, they're just 5-23 this season. And then meanwhile, the Cavs are playing good basketball. They've won 8 of their last 10. They're at home. Donovan Mitchell's ready to go. He's coming off that big game 1 performance. As I mentioned, James Harden looks good. And the big thing, again, and I keep coming back to this, but they really do need Jarrett Allen to be healthy. And for him to play that many minutes in game 1 was encouraging. So the Cavs are trending up. I'm a little worried about the Raptors. I'll take the Cavs too.
Both the Johns wearing the same thing. They got the same assessments. They're going with the same pick, both rolling with the Cavs in this one, and we'll see how everything shakes out, because tip-off coming soon. John and John, fellas, as always, thank you so much.